Hello, everyone. I just wanted to do kind of a quick update so that you know that I haven't forgotten about you. Every once in a while, an artist has to take a little time to themselves. So I've been experimenting. I want to show you the experiment. And this goes with the Scraptember hashtag Scraptember 2025 that Margaret on Seven Plaza and Tony on Crafty by Tony are talking about. Kind of a mixture of things here. So I had done some painted paper on some packing paper, some just fooling around with some painted paper. And I had a few pieces. So you can see I was trying just, this is a little bit of just making marks and dots and corrugated cardboard and everything. And I was looking at these and going like, well, what am I going to do with these? And then I was like, okay, so I've got scraps. I don't have a huge amount, but I do have scraps. Um, I I have this nasty habit of throwing away scraps, and so I've been doing less of that. But where does one put them all? So I created kind of a scrap box. Okay, and so anyway, so I was looking at this painted paper and going like, oh, well, I should do some collage. So, yeah, but I also have been saving some packing paper, you know, some of this kind of packaging, the envelopes and everything. And I saw Natasha on Treasure Books. She was using packaging and everything. So the first thing I was looking at is I was going through my scrappy bits and I'd been given some of these pieces that have some words on it. This one has love, peace, faith. And so I was going like, well, what can I do with that? And I was like, okay, well, let's do a collage. And then I had some of this mesh material. And it just evolved, tore it. And so this is scraps. It's all scraps. And this was a scrap. It was a piece of scrapbook paper, and I just punched it out. This is the inside of an envelope. There was this little piece of fabric that I had thrown in there. And then I thought, well, I had two sides to this piece, so why not put them together? So I did this so that I was thinking, oh, what if these collages were to face each other? How could I make an art journal where I have all these pieces face each other and maybe kind of create collages that match? And you can kind of see how this was the same idea that that artist was working on. She gave me some of her old scraps. So I wound up with some fun scraps that were from another person even. So that makes it kind of fun. And well, what was I thinking about? Well, there's three words here, so I found something and cut out a bit of the number three. And I was thinking, well, we kind of have a unity happening here, so I just put in a number one. It's kind of like I wasn't too sure. I just grabbed some scraps, put them on the table, and started putting things together. This was one piece of fabric. Well, this led to it's like, okay, well, all right, I have some of this painted paper. What am I going to do with this painted paper? And we'll come to the book idea, the art journal book idea in just a moment. Okay, so I went, well, that was fun. I enjoyed that. And I just added the stitching. It just it needed just a little something. So I added the stitching on here and I just added one little third piece. So it's kind of like the rule of threes. There's three of these blue pieces of paper, and there's three pieces of the blue paper here. But there's also three circles and three kind of circular elements. This is a big circle. It's kind of subtle. And so looking for that kind of, and then the cohesiveness across the two, the unity. So a little bit of brown showing up on the top here, and a little bit of this brown showing up on the top, and kind of losing the edge of this rectangular piece, losing the edge. So things like that. And I was losing the edge here. So just all of these different kinds of ideas. So anyway, I did that, and I was looking at my painted paper, and I was going like, well, what can I do? And so this one had very much of kind of a grid look, and I did painting on it, and then I put uh, used a credit card to create lines, and then I used a little gesso over the top to kind of soften everything down. And I saw these grids and I was thinking, oh, we kind of have a ledger paper sort of thing. So I had a little bit of this scrapbook ledger paper, and these were scraps that were had in the bin, and the dark brown were scraps, and this green was from a scrap. And I just kind of moved them around and I said, well, what does this feel like? Well, ledger paper. Let's think of numbers. Okay, what have I got? So I got out my bin that has letters and numbers. And it just sort of popped in. I went, oh, one, two, three, four. Oh, that's a Beatles song. And it just started running in my head, this Beatles song. And I can't sing worth a darn, but one, two, three, four. Can I have a little more? Five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. I love you. And I love you is so important because we need to love ourselves. We need to love others. It's just, I just love it. And so I had these numbers and I had this letters where I could just cut and paste where they weren't cut, they were stickers, but I added glue to them because they weren't terribly sticky. And then this one I added glue to that too. So it was sort of the ledger thing with numbers, and then it turned into the song. And yeah, anyway, so that's where this collage is. Now this was on printer paper. And this is in the United States, in case you don't know, we have letter size paper and we have what's called legal size paper, which is letter size is 8.5 by 8.5. I mean, yeah, 8.5 by 11, pardon me. Whereas European, well, A4, I think it's 8.25 by 12-ish, thereabouts, not quite, but almost. So the legal size is 8.5 by 14. So that gives us 8.5 by 7. So I was looking at this as 8.5 by 7, and this is approximately 8.5 by 7. And I was thinking, oh, so if these are facing pages and these are facing pages, if I glue this page onto this page, I'm creating a hinge. And I might want to reinforce the back of this with some other kind of tape. And so when I get further along on this project, I'll be able to show the whole kind of assembly to you. And then I can add like brown paper tape behind these two to reinforce them together so that they've got a hinge. So I kind of have the wheels turning. So then today I went, oh, well, I'm going to take another one of those pieces of painted paper. So here's the painted paper before, and then I dumped everything off, and then I went back in and I just started adding the pieces. And these were key. These were white corrugated cardboard board from some cat food packaging. And I've been hanging on to some of those. So I cut out circles, and then all I did was take a marker, a couple of markers, and they went, oh, well, that's okay. But then I wanted to kind of dull them down. So I got out some ink and I went, ooh, this is starting to look like rust. So I used the um, Distress ink, rusty hinge, and then I just started putting a little of that rust around to kind of tie that together because that creates a unity. It brings your eye into all those different places. And then I think it was peeled paint. I'll have to look. But yeah, so I started moving the green around because it matched the green on the original paint. And I started doing that on top of my little squares, the rectangles that I had cut out. And now I've Mod Podged over the whole thing because I had a lot of loose edges. So that's how this collage evolved. And I mean, it's no great art or anything, but it makes a fun couple of pages. So again, I can glue these two backs together. And this was just packing paper, just some kind of, I don't know, packaging paper, or maybe this was some more yeah, actually, I think I coffee dyed some legal size paper. I think this was some coffee dyed paper. So at any rate, it could have been cut out packaging paper just as well. And so that's what's going to happen to these. These are going to become collage And see how that's kind of cool where that just hinges together. It'll be glued to that and it's hinged together. You get the idea, I'm sure. And your wheels are now turning too. But I like the collage aspect with some painted paper, with some um yeah, just kind of letting it evolve. And this one of these things that I haven't allowed myself to do very much is just play with the bits and pieces and see what happens. This is a very different result than this was the first two I started with. And then to turn into this, which is fun and very different, to turn into this. So yeah, I just thought I would throw that out there because it only took about 30 minutes to put this together. So um but it didn't matter. We're talking about, we're not talking about last month where it was 3 and 30. We're talking about Scraptember. So, but it didn't take long for this to evolve out. It was just really, really neat. So now I have these painted papers. What shall they become? So anyway, I wanted to share this with you for what I'm working on for Scraptember. I'm not going to be able to make a video next week. So, because I've got to go help a family member with a medical situation. Nothing severe, but yeah, just the same. She needs help. So I just wanted to bring this up this week. And we have Scraptember going. And whether you're doing that or not, collage is a wonderful way of exploring paint with other elements. And so I just hoped that maybe this might be something fun to share with you today for this week. And please, I hope you will go back and look at some of my older videos if you haven't yet. And I thank you very much for being here and just, yeah, just sort of getting things out and playing around and this was painted on with it's acrylic paint with it's one of those round inserts in tape and it's got these two rings on it. So I have a junk drawer. Go back and look at my art play videos because these painted papers come from my own playing with different junk. And go back and look at my art play videos if you need that kind of inspiration. That's what these evolved out of. Okay, so thanks so much for joining me, and I'll be back. I'll be back with some more Scraptember stuff. I plan on doing more of this collage kind of thing. This is going to evolve into quite a fun collagey art journal. So, all right, I'll leave you for now. Have fun. Bye-bye.